Hello everyone, I am Bogdan from EcoHive. I am your guest for the podcast today. I'm here with Daniel from MTD Technology. Thank you, Daniel, for accepting our invitation to the podcast. It is a pleasure to have you here. And please, without further ado, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Daniel, I'm the CEO of MTD Technology, and I'm looking forward to a really interesting discussion today.
That's nice. At the start of the podcast, can you please tell us what's the story behind your business?
Yes, it's an interesting one, and as all I'll say, companies that we see nowadays within the tech landscape, the story behind MTD, it's a story that somehow was born while I was still in IBM. My partner, Adrian, we said, okay, we need to do a better job. And then we decided to found MTD. And I was also, lucky to have had previous experiences in running companies and also in setting up everything that was behind the company. And we took my father's company and then we transformed that from an silviculture company to a tech company. I was also a bit lucky, or we were also a bit lucky, since we had already a bit of ground that we can somehow build upon. And we studied 2021. And by now, 2025, we are already 48 persons with a 2.5 million revenue yearly. Was an interesting, journey until now. And what we can say is that we never lost a client. And we have really, really good feedback from all the clients that we have, and mostly we are working, within insurance and banking, which are pretty complex. So we are really proud about that. And I would say that, even though we started without so much, experience in having a company like a tech company, right? But we were lucky that within IBM we were able to somehow understand the business and how consultancy businesses run, and also that helped us a lot in knowing how to get clients, how to manage them, how to actually do all the operations behind the business. So it was a story where we were at the right moment with the right offerings.
Okay, that's very interesting, as you said. For the people that don't know what your company does, can you please explain it to us briefly?
Yes, so we usually say about ourselves that we are a digital agency for banking and insurance. And we are, the whole digital landscape, from web technologies, mobile, and different kind of custom backend solutions, to also a different kind of low-code, no-code platforms. So we are able to run, a new project from zero to production, meaning that we can cover the business analysis part, the development part, the deployment, and also running that solution within a production environment. So it's from zero to hero.
Okay, that's very interesting. So you're basically doing end-to-end solutions for the niches that you mentioned earlier. In your niche, in the software niche, in the IT niche, or whatever you want to call it, do you notice any trends? And if so, what are the trends that you're noticing?
Well, nowadays we see AI there present everywhere, and everybody has heard a lot of fun stories. Well, the fun stories are true, and AI is a trend like no other trend that we've seen before. And it seems that there's a lot of movement in the market within or somehow close to the AI. Everybody wants to have either a company that's .ai, or they want to somehow position themselves as being AI ready, or actually using AI in everything that they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Reality is not the same, but it's a trend that it's more and more present in our day-to-day lives, and the future will look a bit different with AI. at the end of the day. So it's not like a trend that comes and that leaves. I think it's here for the change. Maybe if we are going to repeat this podcast next year, we will see what happened within a year with AI.
Yeah, sure. I think that would be a great idea to repeat the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Also, I see this. I noticed this trend with AI. It's like everyone on the podcast. If you have watched any of our podcast, everyone at this question they're telling, okay, obviously AI is the first thing we've noticed as a trend. For you right now, is there anything in the market that's making the landscapes more challenging or easier to operate?
Well, I'll say that if you're trying to make an analysis on, for example, of past 5 years since we've started MTD, we see that, for example, 2021, 2022, even maybe first part of 2023 was a lot about digitalizing everything. So maybe, and it doesn't matter. It was just about pushing a lot to digitalize everything. And now, at the moment, I think that only the things that were important continued, and that's why we saw a drop in terms of the investment that we see in digitalizing different kind of the way. So that's challenging for the market because, for example, we had X amount of projects in 2021, 2022, and then it dropped, which somehow translated in a market, I'll say, in a market drop. I think that if you have a relevant project or relevant business case that transforms into a real project, so I think this is something better describing being more mature in terms of what we are considering as important projects and where the client spends the money. So even though that's a bit of challenging for consultancy companies like ourselves, I think it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It makes no sense to digitalize, I'll say, toilet paper. It's toilet paper, it's good. The only thing that you can somehow do better is have like, how's it called? The other thing, right?
Like the big, yeah.
That's
I don't
the
know,
name in English.
tissue roll or something. Yeah.
But again, I think that there are things that you need to somehow invest in and that make sense, and other than that don't. So that we as a market, we will adapt, and who is not able to adapt, it's going to die, maybe. I'm not sure. But adapting to AI, to new trends, to customer needs, I think it's quite important for us as an industry. And also I think that one other important aspect for us within Cluj and Romania mainly, we need to somehow try and focus also on building value. And either building value through services, but also building value through products. You know, within Romania, the market, it's somehow a lot about services and not so much about products. And for example, if we are trying to build up a company, it's quite hard to build it just out of services, since the profitability of a services company is not as big as a product company, right? Where you can use the same thing and just sell it all over to everybody again and again. So I think that as a strategy, as a way to somehow move forward, we have to think about shifting some of the effort that we are putting in also to building products that are way more profitable and helps us to deliver value. Because at the end of the day, if you're delivering value, you have a slot within the market, and you will not be affected.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You're talking about a drop recently after 2021 and 2022. Do you think that, that curve is back to normal or is uprising?
Well, I can tell you that 2026 will be a hard year. We will feel it. Everybody will feel it. Romania, particularly, because Romania, unfortunately, is not has a lot of issues at the moment, and I can tell you more about that. We can transform this from an IT tech, I'll say, podcast into a more macroeconomic podcast, and talk about all these things and issues that we have as a country, and everybody will be affected by that. But also, I think that Europe will have, I'll say, different kind of issues maybe next year, and needs to somehow be more focused on actually building value. The drop that we are somehow predicting in a way, it's due to, I'll say, results within Europe. Most of our clients are within Europe, right? So that's why I'm particularly talking about Europe in general and also maybe Romania in particular. So that's one of the reasons why we might see this drop. But it's not going to be only IT. I think it's going to be also our industries.
Regarding competition now, in your opinion, what does your current competitive landscape looks like?
It's quite hard, right, to talk about competition because, as I was saying, we are activating within industries where you see usually really big players like IBM, Accenture, and other big four companies. Well, it's hard to say that we are competing with them, but we see a lot of, there's a lot of competition coming from Indian companies like TCS and others because they are really well positioned. They are doing really well when you have cost cuts within the industry. One of the challenges is Indian companies because they have really low rates and they can run with minimum profitability, and that's a challenge for us, and not for us just as MTD, but I think in general when we are talking about the industries where we are activating.
Do Indian companies? I had a couple of podcasts yesterday, and all of them mentioned that the Indian companies are struggling right now because they cut costs very efficiently. But some of them are maybe not at they do not match the quality of maybe Romanian companies or any Eastern European IT companies. Either we're talking about cybersecurity, I don't know, custom software development, SaaS or whatever. What's your take on that? Do you think they match your guys' expertise and quality, or not so?
So I think that there's a perception where Indians are not as, I'll say, performant as maybe Europeans in terms of the quality of the things that they are building. Well, India's really big. So between all these Indians are also, I'll say, persons that are really, really high qualified and also persons that are not so qualified. They also have a pretty I'll say, different culture when you compare it to Europeans, and maybe also these things, right, regarding how skilled they are, comes also from their culture. So I wouldn't say that they are not skilled. I would say that those that are really skilled, they are, I'll say, within different kind of contexts where they are doing a really good job. And the ones that are not so skilled, well, we see it in our projects where we have these challenges that you hear from everybody. So yeah, when it comes to bad experiences, definitely you see a lot of bad experiences along the way, but I wouldn't want to transform this podcast into talking about bad experiences, but indeed we had some. And why they are still there and they haven't or their clients haven't decided to somehow remove them from their context? Well, just so you know, big companies, or I'll say if you are talking about banks or insurance companies or whatever consultancy, most of them, they are run by people that are really good in accounting and economics. So when you see a certain rate that it's double the rate of a certain same level of competency, then you choose India sometimes. And sometimes when it comes to C-level, they are not maybe thinking about this. They are thinking how to improve their numbers, because that's what you do when you're in that position. But again, I think it depends on the experience. So it might be that me, you, or others had bad experiences, but there are also others out there that have had good experiences where even though they paid less for more. Well, I think it depends from company to company. So there are a lot of aspects that somehow are used in order to take the decision which is the best, I'll say, partner for building the future. So everybody knows exactly what it's the best way for them. So, well, these are these.
Yeah, that's right. Right now, this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast. I mean, I think my favorite part of the podcast. Now let's go into the marketing and sales side of things, because this is what we do as a company and as service provider. I mean, we are service providers. You are service providers. I think it's very important the marketing and the sales aspect in a service providing, company, because you don't have a physical product to show. Look, here's the product. You can touch it. You can. It's I don't know, a cup of coffee. It's made out of whatever and so on and so forth. So first off, I want to know, how do people find about you or your business, or both of them?
Well, unfortunately, we are not so. We don't have such a good presence in online media, and we are lacking, unfortunately, the marketing part. Next year will be a year where we are going to invest a lot in this area. So, if you are looking about or looking at the past, we are still I'll say a startup where we are learning from our mistakes, where we are trying to improve ourselves, and marketing will be one of the things that we are going to improve next year, because until now we haven't done too much marketing, and we did what we knew best, meaning how to create meaningful connections with our clients, how to build trust, and how to deliver really, really good. So it was more about doing things for our clients that would help us be really good positioned in terms of quality of the services that we are providing and the knowledge that we have. And it was not so much about being present within media with all the great things that we've built before. But marketing is a really important aspect of business, meaning that you need to show and to put it out there, all the use cases that you have built, all the interesting stories, and all the successes, because in order to create trust for new clients, it's important for you to be visible. And this is what we learned and what we have decided to do next year.
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, it's impressive that you mentioned your revenue for the year, 2.5 million, and you did that without marketing. I mean, that's very interesting. And I think, from what I understand, networking and recommendations are your core marketing strategy, which is a marketing strategy in and of itself. So it was very interesting. Okay.
It was we none of our partners, right, knew or was not really skilled in marketing, right? We were skilled in building trust and in actually delivering good quality products and provide really good services, right, to our clients. So we did what we knew best. But we are now, for example, here, and in order to move forward, we need also the marketing side, because that helps you in being able to scale up your sales activities.
Okay. My next question would have been about marketing team members, but I suppose you don't have any marketing team members, right? At the
Well, we
moment.
tried it, right? We tried it once. So
Okay.
actually, this year we tried, or actually last year, we hired somebody on the marketing side. And unfortunately, the fact that we are not prepared, we didn't have a really good vision about how our marketing strategy should look like. It was not a successful, I'll say, it was not successful in terms of helping us moving forward and going to the next level in terms of marketing.
Mhm. Okay. Right now, let's go into the current state of things. Can you please tell us, as a CEO, what are you responsible for, and how are you currently spending your day?
There was a saying, right? There are things that are really, really important that you are doing yourself. These are important, and I will say also urgent, that you're doing yourself. Then there are important things that you can delegate, right? And there are things that are not important and that you can delegate, so that those things you're planning for some other time. It's quite it differs a lot, right, from day to day. But as in a startup, you're doing whatever needs to be done. Mostly, I'm focusing on the clients and everything that's around that, and operations, because those two things I think are really important. So you need to have a stable team and stable operations, so that you know that you're able to pay the bills, right? And
Yeah.
not only that, but you need clients, which is an important aspect of the business. So not sure exactly how the others are doing it, but my focus is on having a really good view on the operations and trying to do sales and be there for our clients.
Okay, so you
Being at my core, being a technical person, I also sometimes involve in some of our projects that are, I'll say, really important, urgent, where I think that I can give a point of view.
so basically you're doing a little bit of everything that needs to be done.
Well, not everything, not everything, but I try to manage, I'll say, operations area, right, and also be present in the sales with real working things and not just managing the sales part, but actually doing
Very interesting. And how are you currently spending your day-to-day life?
day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Well, MTD, I think, takes most of the day, but I definitely try to take time to myself, going to the gym, running, do different kind of things with the family, because those things somehow charge you or help you somehow have a really good state of mind.
I love that how you put it. What are the most important metrics for you right now?
For MTD, you mean, or for me as a person?
You can do both. I was referring to MTD, but you can do both.
Okay.
That would be
Well,
interesting.
yeah, I think it's standard metrics. So profitability is quite important. The cash flow, right? It's again really important. EBITDA, it's one of other important, I'll say, indicators that we are trying to somehow foresee. Not foresee, but actually trying to see it as or trying to reach a certain level also on that side. Other metrics, I think it's the NPS of the clients that we are managing constantly, because at the end of the day, right, if you have, I would say, really good feedback from the clients, this means that you're doing a good job, and this means that you're appreciated, and definitely that your contract will move forward. Otherwise, well, if you don't have that, then it's quite complicated. So yeah, these are some of the things that I'm trying to check on a daily basis. Maybe not on a daily basis, everything, but well, let's put it this way, as on a monthly basis.
Do you have any goals for the next year? If so, what are the goals that you've set for yourself? So you said one of them was improving on marketing. What else?
The other one is it's improving on sales.
Okay, okay. They
Yeah,
go
so
hand in hand, don't they?
there are a couple of them, right? There are a couple of them. Marketing is one of them. Sales is one of them. It's another one. We need to intensify our sales activities, pre-sales activities. It's also product. It's one of the other pillars that we will have as goals. We have a new product. It's called Structure Hub that we are going to somehow release to the market next year. We have already a few clients where we started discussions about our Structure Hub, and one of the goals is to sell Structure Hub next year. Another goal that we have as a company is to invest a lot in knowledge, because if you want to be a consultant, right, you need to be really, really highly skilled so that able to consult the others. Otherwise, it makes no sense for a company to hire a consultant if you're not able to help them in a certain way. So also improving skills. We have done a lot or have pushed a lot into the AI area, meaning that we have internal infrastructure that is running proprietary models. So we are investing a lot also on this side. So we're not just taking GPT licenses or Cursor or other things. We are trying to do these things ourselves so that we are also able to create strategies for our clients, but not only that, but also build products that have AI enabled. They have AI, I'll say, at the core of the product. So these are some of the areas where we are at the moment that we are trying to improve next year. We need to improve also other indicators like the ones that I told you before, like profitability and revenue. We are in a growth period. I think that it's more about doing the right things, rather than maximize profitability at the moment.
Very interesting. So we talked about goals. What are your challenges for right now? And you think that maybe there are going to appear more challenges in the next year?
Well, in terms of challenges, right, I think some of them I've already mentioned. The context, right, it's quite complicated in terms of Europe's macroeconomic context. Romania also in particular, right, even though or the government at the moment, they're saying, okay, we are not going to increase taxation. Well, I'm not sure how they're going to manage next year if they are not doing that.
Yeah.
I was last year, at the moment, maybe just a really short thing about myself. I'm also following an MBA class at University of Monaco, right? And last year, one of our professors had a challenge for us. Everybody within the had to do an analysis, really deep analysis in terms of macroeconomic aspect of their own country. And for sure, I chose Romania. And what I saw, it was definitely really bad. And I knew that this year was going to be challenged and that taxation will increase. And we've seen that, right, at the start of the year, for example, in the IT industry, where we lost that 10%. Not 6% actually, and that somehow went to increasing, I'll say, increasing our increasing our cost with labor with at least 11-12%. We were one of the only companies, I think, that were okay increasing the salaries for everybody within the company in order to cover that impact. Yeah. Taxation is going to be one of the challenges that we will have next year. Industry is going to be another challenge. Again, we discussed about companies that are able to run with lower costs than we do. That's a challenge. We lost, I think, 2 or 3 deals already due to that. So it's quite important, and it's going to be, I'll say, a challenge next year, since everybody, due to maybe not so much investment, will look for cheaper projects, and that's going to be a challenge for us. Other challenge will be maybe a drop in the number of projects that will be there next year. But with all that, we did some kind of, let's say, planning for next year, and we aim to double our revenue next year. So, well, it's going to be challenging, but if we are going to do it right, and with the marketing and with the sales, hopefully we will be there, and we will be able to double our revenue.
Well, what can I say? I wish you all the best in that scenario.
Yeah,
I hope you'll achieve.
I hope that too.
This is the most interesting question, I think, of the entire podcast. So right now, if you've had a magic wand that you could wave to solve one thing, what that one thing would be and why?
I hope that I will be healthy, and I think that's the only thing that I wish for. All the other things are coming as they should. So I wish for me and my team to be healthy, and we are going to face all the challenges if we have that.
Very interesting.
I'm not wishing for anything else. I'm not wishing for yachts or for things like that. It's not me.
Because you already have them in a couple of years, right?
Oh, no. But I had that crisis long before, right? So while I've been in IBM, it was 2019, you know Buchnic, right? So he bought a Tesla, and then I said, okay, I want a Tesla too. And I bought a Tesla. And it was not an, I'll say, cheap investment back then. It was also challenging to have a Tesla in 2019 because you couldn't buy it in Romania. I think it was the first Model 3 in Cluj. So I'll say that I'm long past that crisis. I'm now more into, I'll say, trying to build something that is meaningful and not so much about buying yachts or private planes or whatever, sports car.
Okay, yeah, this is the end of the podcast. Thank you again for joining, Mr. Daniel. It's your chance right now to leave a message to the people that are watching the podcast right now. So please, if you have any message for the people that are watching, for me, for us, for the universe.
Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope that the things that I've said here could help you in a way. Either if you're interested about MTD, or if you're, I'll say, just interested about things that are related to the IoT tech industry. I'm happy that I had the opportunity to talk about all those things. And well, it was things that it just came from top of my mind directly, nothing prepared before. So straight from the heart. Well, helped in a way. And I will definitely be happy to join other sessions, maybe about finance or other topics. Happy to discuss those. And
Sure.
I would say maybe for our Romanian fellows, I think it's important to be united. It's going to be a hard year for us. I think that it's important for us to be united, to try to do the best that we can so that we are going to be a better shape next year.
Okay, a great message. Thank you very much, Daniel, again for joining the podcast. And for the people that are watching, I'm thanking them as well for watching the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode.
Yeah, thank you very much.